This is Dr. Bill Korter, and for this presentation I would like to ask one question: how do you create a better life? That's a central question that applies to every single individual, and there are not many questions that are probably more important. From my standpoint, to create a better life, you have to have the right job, which we discussed in the previous presentation, but you also have to have the right home and home life. If you can combine both work and home, you can have the best of both worlds and a better life. Now, in the previous presentation, we discussed the twin pillars. We discussed the first pillar, and the first pillar is the two P's. That's developing your passion and developing a purpose for that passion, and then aligning that passion and that purpose with whatever line of work you decide to do. But you have to have an appropriate alignment. The second pillar is just as important as the first. And without the second pillar, the first pillar tends to fall. The second pillar is the two C's, and that's for connection and contribution. Now, it would seem in today's world that connection is increasing. I mean, we have 1 billion people on the internet, 500 million people on Twitter. And yet, if you look at individual lives, connection actually seems to be decreasing, not increasing. Too many people, too much of the workforce work in cubicles. They work in isolation. In addition, at home, when you look at home lives, more people are spending less and less time with their spouse. They're spending less and less time with their children. So the connections at work are a little bit less, and the connections at home actually, and unfortunately, are less. And it's because we're all so busy doing things that aren't that important, at least not aligned with what's most important for us. And so my recommendation is to refocus on a daily basis on connection and contribution. Now, if you are unconvinced that those are crucial elements, take a moment to think of the victims of the tragedies in our nation over the last several years. Think of the school shootings. Think of some of the massacres we've had in theaters. What do you see? You see the survivors, the people who are suffering so much and are so disconnected, having lost a loved one. What do? They get on TV and they reconnect. They reconnect with the world by sharing their grief. What's the next thing that they tend to do is they find something to contribute. Many of them end up going to Congress, and they'll fight for some new cause that they had not even considered prior to the tragedy. Maybe they fight for gun control. Maybe they fight for better mental health care. Maybe they fight against some of the negative biases that exist in so many of our parent police departments. The cause itself doesn't matter, but the act of contributing is crucial. So I think for all of us, we need to make more of an attempt to connect and contribute. At work, if you're stuck in a cubicle, I think that means getting out of the cubicle, trying to move around, and trying to see if you can help others. It doesn't have to be anything significant. Small is beautiful. A compliment, a helping hand. Any of those little tiny components make a difference if they're positive and if they're helping you connect. Same thing at home. All you need to do at home is to try to create a little more space to connect with your daughter or with your son, or a little more time to connect with your husband or your wife. Those increased connections will add a tremendous value, a tremendous benefit to your life. And so both at home and at work, it comes down to those same two pillars. You have to have passion, you have to have a purpose, you have to be able to then connect your passion and purpose to somebody, and you have to have a feeling of contributing at work and contributing at home. And I think if you can keep those components in the back of your mind and keep those components and develop them into habits, you'll find that your life begins to get better and better and better. You'll find that your work begins to get better and better and better. Yes, you may need to change jobs. Yes, you may need to find a new career. But if you can, then the quality of your life expands exponentially. And as I repeatedly share and highlight, as the quality of your mood improves and the quality of your life improves, your health improves, your longevity improves. You end up being better protected from the toxins of the world, better protected from the chronic illnesses, and you lead a much, much superior life. So think of the 2 P's, think of the 2 C's, and see if you can incorporate them. That's the habit we want. Thank you for listening. Again, if this resonates at all, please subscribe, because I have more topics coming that relate to similar issues that I think you'll find helpful for your life. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest. And as I always like to hope, let's educate each other and have a better life. Thanks.